Luke in the comments said, what's your guys' thoughts? I know it's a stretch, but let's say Lonzo comes back.
Oh, here we go.
Like similar to how he was before, but where does he fit? Because I'm really enjoying this Ayo and Coby backcourt. My simple answer to you, Luke, would be don't worry about that because it's not happening. I'm not rooting for that to not happen for Lonzo, whether it be putting on a Bulls jersey again or having his NBA career continue anywhere. I'm saying I've looked at the facts that we've gotten. I've heard the updates that we've heard, and
read the reports.
That should be nowhere near the top of your list of worries right now. I'm really liking this Coby Ayo backcourt. I don't want Lonzo to come back and ruin it. I can think of 8,000 things I'm more worried about than that right now.
He's actually honest about that. He will tell you 8,000 things he's worried about.
Speaking of, though, also, like, shout out to Ayo. He had a quiet second half.
Yeah.
But monster first half. Doing that thing that we've seen him do a lot this season as being a points getter, a bucket getter, like in the first quarter of some of these games. He scored 7 of the first Bulls 9 points, Will.
He did, and I think he had 15 in the first half, and it was just so easy. I mean, he was just driving straight by guys.
Yep.
I mentioned it before. The Kings defense is just, there's no resistance, and I think when you are throwing your best defenders at DeMar and Coby, you've got some opportunities there if you're an Ayo or a Caruso to kind of squeeze in and get to the basket or be the recipient and benefit from some of those kickouts and hit some threes. So there's going to be opportunities for those guys, and they kind of adjusted throughout the game. And Ayo came back and I think had 5 in the fourth quarter after going scoreless in the third. But there's going to be opportunities, and he's been just really taking advantage of them over the last few weeks here. He's really stepped up.
What I love more is the reliability of him as a three-point shooter. I think that's been the most wonderful thing about what he's added to his game. And, of course, he's added several things. I mean, just that, like you talked about, getting to the bucket immediately. He scored the first 2 points. Shout out Joey Spathis, who called that. But he scored the first bucket of the game by just getting the tip and running to the bucket and scoring the layup. Like he did those kind of things. We watch him do that a lot, as you just mentioned, Will. But I think the best thing about it is just I'm not like, oh, no, will he hit that shot anymore when he gets the ball in the three-point, at the three-point line. I'm more excited now when he gets the ball at the three-point line. Like, Ayo's open. Ayo's open. Give him the ball. Going 2 of 5 tonight. Like, again, we just talked about that with Caruso. If he went that, then I'd be fine. With Ayo, like, he's really, really just shooting that thing where I'm just comfortable with him being that kind of three-point shooter when the ball finds him.
And the confidence, I think, is key because, he was getting buckets in the first half. Went to halftime with 15. Well into the fourth quarter, as the Bulls are trying to make their comeback, you're sitting here, he was like, wait, how many? And I was like, he's at 17. He was at 15 and a half, and he was at 17 points well into the fourth and had not really done much of anything offensively in the second half. And then still, huge moment in the game. Ayo finds himself getting a pass in the left corner for a rise and fire three that he took and knocked down so freaking confidently. And the fact that he did that after having a second half where he was really not looking to score the way he was in the first half, because the second half was the DeMar and Coby show. But so for Ayo to be that removed from being facilitator, distributor, scorer himself in the second half, and then still have the confidence to take a shot like that, it is wildly significant to me, I think, as far as who Ayo can still become as a player and a threat on the offensive end in future seasons.
And Will, I wanted to ask you this. Watching now, he plays heavy minutes, plays 38. Do you think the next level of his game should be finding a way for him to get to the free throw line? Because we watch him do this scoring, and he's scoring in, the high teens, low 20s. That's kind of where he's getting to. But do you think like more facets of his game can be added to that if he can get to the free throw line? Or is it just like, I'm okay with what it is and that's cool with me?
Yeah, I mean, it all kind of depends on what role he ends up taking on. But for right now, I mean, he's been kind of like that fourth option on the floor, depending on who's out there with him. And if you want to take your game from fourth, third option to like first or second, it's the free throw line. I think that's really the area, and then like the off the dribble mid-range stuff, which we see a little bit from him, but he just doesn't really have those opportunities with the ball in his hands to create as much. It's more, I'm going to be attacking closeouts and driving or catch and shoot threes, that's great. But I think if you want to be like a high volume, high efficiency scorer, it's got to be at the free throw line. But I think if you're going to change the way that teams have to defend you, that opening up that mid range game can really make some changes. So it's both of those things, but it just kind of depends on like where he's going to be getting those opportunities. What makes sense to me is like if he's attacking closeouts and driving, get to the foul line. And I think he can really boost his efficiency there. I mean, there's nights where he's 9 of 15, starts like 7 of 9, and that's like a efficient scoring night because he shot the ball accurately. But there's also gonna be nights where he goes 4 of 12 or 5 of 15 or whatever. But if he's able to get to the free throw line 4 or 5 times and boost his scoring at the line there, that's now you're looking at like an efficient high volume scorer. So it's kind of both things, but I think to me, like getting the free throw line is always that next level of how can I be like a really imposing volume scorer.
Do you think it's any kind of concern that he doesn't seem to be getting those calls? Because for somebody who scores most of his points going to the bucket and ending up on the floor, you know what I'm saying, ending up hitting the stanchion in the back, like or ending up with the cameraman, he doesn't really get these calls. Like, well,
he's not really like going into contact. That's one of the things about him. Like, and you point it out all the time. Like, he's always going off the wrong foot, left foot. Using his body for separation. He's not really like going into contact, and so he's kind of like doing that to avoid the contact. And it's working for him to get there and finish. Sure. But I think he's going to have to kind of add, and that's like a big step for him. I think, there were times last year and the year before where he was just trying to go up right hand, right foot and like really just try to like go straight up. But this like extension kind of scoop thing that he's been working on has allowed him to not get his shot blocked at the rim. And so I think that's been a really good level of progression for him, where now if he can, and we've seen it a couple times where he tries to like get his man in jail behind him or like jump into them on some of these layups. It's coming, but I don't think that what we're seeing right now is wrong. I think it's just like he's gotten comfortable at this next level that he's at. And so now it's about, all right, well, where can you take it from here?
South Garcon saying he'll need to work on going left effectively. Zero down on those teardrops in the mid-range. Coby needs to add that too.
Yeah, so we was talking about that mid-range game,
Spartus 10 saying Ayo needs to start baiting that hand swipe when he goes to the basket like Tamar. I mean, yes, there are some of those marked improvements you can still get, but Ayo's finishing at the rim and Coby's finishing at the rim.
Yeah.
In a variety of ways as far as their creativity when they're in the air and the way that they're shielding the ball from airborne challengers who are bigger than they are, trying to contest those shots at the rim. I feel like Coby and Ayo have both taken strides.
Yeah, they're learning how to be more effective as below the rim finishers.
Exactly.
And it's funny because they're both doing it kind of differently, because we mentioned how Ayo is using his speed to get there. Whereas when Coby gets there, he kind of slows down a little bit.
Crafty.
You know what I mean? A little more crafty with his and going up and hoping to get more fouls, you know, with the contact and stuff, man. So it's working, for both those guys.
All city like the mayor.